Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Columbus. Those of you who are not from this area, those of you who are from the area, thank you and welcome to being here today. Scott asked me to just make one little point of information. Please do pay attention to your evaluation throughout the course of the day. We want to make certain that we provide the best event possible, and the only way we can do that is if we have your feedback, so please do pay attention to that as we move along. Most of you know that we invited the governor to come and be with us today, and although he was very, very busy today, I'm very delighted that he allowed Ms. Janine Hancock-Jones, Esquire, to join us as our speaker. And as I reviewed her biography, and I had heard of her and knew of her, but it was very impressive to see it all in one place, and you all have this here. But I think there are a couple of things that are very critical about her that I want to point out. Obviously, the role that she plays in the governor's staff as senior advisor and deputy legal counsel is very, very critical to the work of the state in being able to represent the various agencies against lawsuits and different representation in the court. But more importantly, she obviously has a heart for advocacy and cares about some of the same issues that we have cared about. She has been on the Ohio Supreme Court's Task Force Review for Ohio Disciplinary System. She is on the Bar Association's Advisory Council for Diversity Initiatives, and she's the immediate past president of the John Mercer Langston Bar Association. She was also recognized not once, not twice, but 3 times, 2005, 6, and 7, as a rising star in the Ohio Super Lawyers magazine, and that is certainly a great honor, so we are honored to have you here with us today. We got a star, don't tell the governor I said this, but maybe it's even a bonus beyond what we thought. She was also a member of the Leadership Columbus class in 2007 and the African American Leadership Academy class in 2008. And she became a fellow with the Ohio State Bar Association Foundation that same year. She's done some interesting writing on issues that I know we care about, Brown versus Board of Education. There are a couple of articles there. I'm going to go and look those up because I always like to see what people have to say about those issues. She is also a wife and a mother of 2 children that I'm certain are beautiful and on their way to being advocates as well, Taylor and Avery. So again, I'm very happy to introduce to you all Janine Jones.
Thank you all. I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of the governor. He is obviously busy. I will not pass along I seriously doubt that, but on behalf of the governor, I'm happy to be here today. Welcome to you, bring you greetings from him. Deirdre asked me just to talk a little bit about the governor's agenda and then a little bit about my path and how I got here, and then open it up for questions and answers. I mean, it's always difficult to follow such an introduction because, you know, I just do what I love, and I think that that's what you all do every day, and I'm very happy to be here. Most of you probably did hear the governor's State of the State address where he started our theme of We Believe in Ohio, and that's exactly what Governor Strickland does every day, believes in Ohio. His focus right now is on jobs, and I know that that's something that you all are focused on. I spent a little bit of time researching your website, the National League of Women Voters, and I know that you all have endorsed the Third Frontier initiative that's going to be on the ballot in May, and that's something that's extremely important. Ohio was not exempt from the national recession, and so there were a lot of things that were put in place before the governor got into office that were out of our control. But since he's been in office, we truly believe that this administration has taken a number of steps to advance this state, and so that when we come out of this recession, we will be better off. There have been substantial actions taken with respect to cost savings, budget cuts. I could talk to you ad nauseum about all of the things that we have done. The amount of this budget is back to the budget that was in place at the time President Reagan was in office, which is huge. We have cut a lot of money out of this budget, and that's not something you typically hear from a Democratic governor. You always hear the tax and spend. That's what we like to do as Democrats, but that's not Governor Strickland's motto. We have a great tax climate here in the state of Ohio. Recently, the governor announced the Jumpstart Initiative, which is called Launch 100. It's a partnership between a group in Northeast Ohio that is focused on minority businesses. And what that group is to do is to bring in businesses to expand high growth, high potential minority businesses. It will work with them to develop business plans, and so that is a huge model that will bring in jobs. So it's not in just your mom and pop shops. While those are really important as well, these are the high growth jobs that we, or high growth companies that we believe will have sustainable jobs here. We are also poising Ohio to be the energy gateway. I know that that's another initiative that you all are going to be talking about here today, or just different energy policies, and that's something that we're very excited about and we've spent a lot of time on with respect to ethanol plants and not having any ethanol plants before this governor took office, talking about wind turbines and solar panels. I got to tell you, it's a really strange feeling for me to be up here in front of you all just a year after I started in this position, because I was a lawyer. I was in the private practice of law. I worked for the Attorney General's office first, and then I went into a law firm. I was a year and a half away from making partner, and my boss, the chief counsel, called me and said, "Can you come over and do this for me?" And I said no. I said absolutely no. And the weird thing for me is that you would have never told me a year ago that I would have been standing in front of this group talking about ethanol and wind turbines and solar panels and biomedical, those types of issues. But this is something that I can tell you I'm truly passionate about. I'm excited to be here. I think that the work that you all are doing is absolutely critical and wonderful, and we hope to be resources for you. I know that your lobby day is really focused on the legislators, but we in the executive branch hope that we can be resources for you as well, because it is the partnership. Another thing that the governor is focusing on is obviously diversity. And so we like to tailor all of our discussions when we're speaking in front of groups to things that are important to you, and I think it's extremely important for you all to understand how much he values women. He makes the joke a couple of times, but he's being overrun by women in his office. And it's wonderful. I mean, it's an absolutely wonderful environment for me to be in, but he loves it. Over half of his cabinet is comprised of women. Of his boards and commissions appointments, over 36% of the appointments have been women, and with his judicial appointments, over 45% of those have been women. So through this governor's actions, he has totally changed the face of leadership in the state of Ohio as it relates to women. I can give you all sorts of stats on other minorities if you want those, but I thought that this group is focused on women's issues, and I thought that that would be important to you, for you to understand. The other thing I just wanted to talk to you about was my path. Deirdre gave you a little bit of background on me. I am from Ohio. I grew up in Worthington, and I kind of got excited when we went around Ohio. I guess as an Ohioan, I like all the clapping and seeing the different areas represented. Although nobody seems to be from Worthington. Maybe the Metro Columbus. All right, we have some Worthington folks in the room. But I'm passionate about the state. When I was back in high school, we opened up a new high school. And so a couple of years before we opened up that brand new high school, I was asked by the superintendent of the Worthington School Board to sit on a committee to develop that school. It's now Worthington Kilbourne, which shows a little bit of my age, but we developed that school from the ground up. We named it, we picked the mascot, we worked with the architects on the designs, and as a student, I think that's where my passion for advocacy started. Just being a part of the community and really seeing that I can have an impact. And I drive my girls, my 9-year-old and my 4-year-old, by the high school, and I say, your mom had something to do with that high school. And I take pride in that because I want to instill that in my children, that they know that they can make a difference in this world. And I think that that's what you all are all doing. So I started, I guess I'll say, I started at Worthington doing that, and then I moved on to college, and I went down to Atlanta, and I went to Spelman College in Georgia, which is an historically black college and university, but it's all women. So that was definitely an interesting experience that I absolutely loved. But there was a boys' school right there across the street from Women's College, so it wasn't total seclusion, but it was a lot of fun. And I think that experience of just being around all women and being in that learning environment was so impactful on my life. I served as the president of the Spelman Women's Action Coalition while I was in college, and we did a lot of different types of activities, community service. We tutored kids across the way, because Spelman in Atlanta is housed in the inner city, and we were across the street from housing projects. And so these were kids who we thought we could help. So we did a lot of work with them.